What a beautiful morning in St. Pete. What do the Marines say? Hoorah! Hoorah! Oh my goodness, this is a great event. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Linda Byers. I'm with the City of St. Petersburg Housing and Community Development Department. This whole adventure started with William C. Scott and our building department and a permit for a roof that was open for about 2 years. So the building department brought Mr. Scott up to the housing department because we there help people with repairing their homes when they're in disrepair. Mr. Scott came in, and I think the first thing he said to me was, "I'm a U.S. Marine," and I said, "I can't tell. You've got that U.S. Marine cap on," which he never takes off because every time I've seen him, he's got that cap on his head. We went on to go through an application process that took quite some time, and when it was that Mr. Scott's advocate, and I'm going to introduce Mr. Aaron Williams, and he's going to say a few words here in just a second. He don't want to, but I said, you're going to be saying a few words today. Mr. Scott's application was approved for what we call an emergency repair loan. Now, these loans are made available with state and federal funding from the State Housing Trust Fund for the Sadowski Act, and we use that money for down payment assistance to first-time home buyers and to make housing repairs for citizens who could not otherwise afford to do so living in the city of St. Petersburg. Mr. Scott's emergency repair, which was basically to fix his roof on which he had climbed by ladder on numerous occasions, which kind of scared me a little bit that he was up on that roof so much. And we approved that loan and went out to do the job and the inspections and found that not only did the roof need to be repaired, but the entire roof structure needed to be repaired. And the building official said, without a new roof structure, Mr. Scott will not return to this house. So we scrambled about and came up with a little bit of money using SHIP again. And we did a total rehabilitation of his house. Now, this whole process started late in 2012, and at that time, Veterans Day was coming around, and I called up the press and said, I know y'all like to do investigative type reporting, but I says, would you be interested in a human interest story? And they said, sure, what you got? And I explained it. Well, Veterans Day came and Veterans Day left. And all of a sudden, here we are a year later, and it's Veterans Day again, and it's the 238th birthday of the Marine Corps, and we're here to celebrate a homecoming for Mr. Scott into his new house. I say, hoorah. We are so very much excited. Before we move on, I apologize, Mr. Mayor. Aaron, would you please come forward, please, and say a few words on behalf of Mr. Scott and the rest of the Marines. Thank you so much.
Thank you. A lot of you out here may know me, but you've never known me in a capacity that I actually speak in front of an audience. So please bear with me if I say something that you don't like or say something that might be out of color, because I do that sometimes. Being a Marine myself, I'm very honored to be here. I'm a Vietnam vet, and it's a pleasure. Ms. Byers gave me a title of advocate for Mr. Scott, but to me it's just a human being helping a human being. Marine helping a Marine. I told her that I'm a barrel of water, so if I cry, that's okay. My parents taught me that all my blessings come from what I give. None of them come from what I get. So, in giving back to Mr. Scott, I love him. I know why you all laugh that know him. Okay? Mr. Scott, I'm going to talk a little bit about him. He's one of the sweetest, honorable men I've ever met in my life. But when you get down to the core of Mr. Scott, if you can get past Mr. Scott's bullying, he'll bully you in a heartbeat. He will tell you what he will not do in a heartbeat. But I have learned that if I ask Mr. Scott to do something opposed to telling him, he'll do it. If I suggest to him opposed to telling him, he'll do it. He'll agree. He always wanted his way. He don't think there is any other way. He have helped so many people in his life till he feel like no one should help him. And I've been knowing him a long time. So those of you, family members, friends, you know who he's helped, what he's done. Okay, we all know. Okay, but he don't feel like even today, his day, he wanted to go buy some gifts to give to people that was here. Why? Your day, Mr. Scott. But Mr. Scott is very, very grateful. I know he is. We talk about it, and he don't like to say it, but he's very grateful for what the city and all the other organizations have done for him. And I must say, Ms. Foster, your city staff have been just great. I mean, nothing that we asked outside of the scope that we didn't get done. It was just, I don't know if they were working overtime, but they would actually come into the house and help decorate. I'm going, this is not what you all did. Oh, no. But they actually, when those of you that get the opportunity to tour the house, all of the decoration that was done by the city of St. Petersburg. I was actually going to move out of the city until this happened. Great city. Great city. This city have went, it's just unbelievable. I can't tell you what they've done and the things that I've seen. So on behalf of Mr. Bill Scott, we say thank you all, the Marine Corps. I have a 72-year-old brother that drove from Miami to be here, also a Vietnam Marine Corps. So at my end of my speech, how many Marines do we have out here, by the way? My Lord. My Lord. How many military people do we have? I'm sorry the rest of you all couldn't join us on a real branch of the military, but that's okay. That's okay. On the count of three, Marine Corps, 1, 2, 3, hoorah!
Mr. Williams mentioned the house and the decorations and all the work that went into it with the scope of work and the contractors. But I want y'all to take a look at these thank you sponsors. It wasn't just the city of St. Petersburg. It was a community. It was a neighborhood. All these folks, including Badcock Furniture, Home Depot, they're all listed there. All the Veterans Affairs, Bell's Outlet. We all came together as a group. This is a great city, St. Petersburg. It has great communities and great neighborhoods. Who would think that after 70 years that we would be gathered here together to celebrate these Marines, 2 of which live 2 blocks from each other. There were 19,168 Montford Marines that served in a segregated boot camp near North Carolina. Many of them went on to serve in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Mr. Scott was one of those. There, in 2012, in Washington, 400 of the 19,168 Marines were named to receive the honor, the Congressional Gold Medal of Honor, which is the highest civilian award that any person in this country could receive. Mr. Scott, Mr. Blossom, and Mr. Ayers did not receive their awards at that time. When Mr. Scott came into our office and I learned that he was a Montford Marine, I went, Montford Marine? I don't know. What is that? I did my research and I said, oh my goodness, this is history.
Well, good morning, and what a beautiful day this is, and what an honor it is to be here today in the presence of heroes, true heroes. I grew up in a Marine family. My dad is a Marine, once a Marine, always a Marine, but he flew the A-4 Skyhawk for the Marine Corps and flew during the Korean and Vietnam conflicts, and so I was raised celebrating the Marine Corps' birthday and singing from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. And it's just humbling. It's humbling to be in your presence, and it's an honor. You know, Linda was talking about the partners and those involved in this, but this is truly, I know, has been a labor of love for anyone involved in this celebration of the Montford Point Marines, and for those involved in honoring John Ayers, Samuel Blossom, and William Scott. It has been this labor of love. And now they're getting the recognition that they deserve, and truly not the recognition that they sought, but recognition that this country owes to them, this debt of gratitude for their service. And during the national anthem, I don't know if you noticed, but we had a flyover by the United States Coast Guard. That was not planned, but certainly fitting for that. And I want to say thank you to my staff. It's been an honor to serve this community and to have incredible people in all city departments really working passionately for the citizens of St. Petersburg. Linda Byers went above and beyond the call of any duty, and she really took this on as a personal gift. And I often talk about love letters that citizens give to the communities. Well, there are love letters that staff will give back to the community, and this is Linda's love letter, and I want to say thank you. So as we honor our veterans on Monday for Veterans Day, and as we honor the United States Marine Corps for its birthday, I'd like to read a proclamation of the city of St. Petersburg. Whereas St. Petersburg embraces its citizens who have served our country as a member of the United States military, defending the freedoms which we treasure. Whereas on June 25th, 1914, President Franklin D. Roosevelt issued an executive order number 8802 establishing the Fair Employment Practices Commission and opened the doors for the very first black Americans to enlist in the United States Marine Corps. And whereas the first black United States Marine Corps recruits were trained at a segregated boot camp known as Camp Montford Point in North Carolina, and later these Montford Point Marines of the 8th Ammunition Company and the 36th Depot Company landed on the island of Iwo Jima on February 19, 1945. And whereas in 2011 the United States House of Representatives unanimously voted to award the Congressional Gold Medal, the nation's highest civilian honor, to the Montford Point Marines. And whereas St. Petersburg citizens William C. Scott, Mr. John Ayers, and Mr. Samuel Blossom, now deceased, have been duly honored, but have not yet received their Congressional Gold Medals. It is our honor to witness the presentation of these medals today in St. Petersburg. Now therefore I, Bill Foster, Mayor of the City of St. Petersburg, do hereby proclaim November 8th, 2013 as Montford Point Marine Appreciation Day in the City of St. Petersburg. And I encourage every citizen of this great city to honor those who have served the United States and those who continue to serve our great country through their distinguished service. I want to thank you all for
Good morning. My name is Major Rich Marshall. I work for Marine Forces Central Command in Tampa at MacDill Air Force Base. And it's a pleasure and an honor for me to be here today to help present the Congressional Gold Medal to the Montford Point Marines. Marines have a fighting spirit which spans generations. My generation served during Iraq and Afghanistan. The Montford Point Marines fought their country's battles during World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. My connection to the Montford Point Marines goes beyond our shared tradition of sacrifice and service. My grandfather, L.V. Brown of Oakland, Mississippi, was a Montford Point Marine. He went to boot camp at Montford Point in 1944 and went on to serve during World War II in the Pacific at Iwo Jima and other campaigns. He stayed in the Marine Corps until 1947 before moving on, marrying a beautiful lady named Mary Brown, my grandmother, having 6 children, and working in a steel mill for over 30 years. in Cleveland, Ohio. There was something about my grandfather, something about him that I just couldn't figure out. His swagger, his confidence, leadership, grit, determination, character, moral standing and upbringing. I couldn't figure out what it was about my grandfather. What was that thing that made him special? But I did come to figure it out when I became a United States Marine. He passed on in the year 2000, so he's not here today to be with us. But by honoring these gentlemen, I honor my grandfather. And I'd like to personally thank them for their sacrifice, everything they did for their country, and how they paved the way for African American Marines that followed in their footsteps. And I am living testimony to that fact. So I'd like to thank you. And before we read the certificate of recognition, I'd like to just extend a greeting from one Marine to another. Semper Fidelis, and happy birthday. Certificate of recognition is presented to William C. Scott, John Tyrone Ayers, and Samuel L. Blossom. In recognition of selfless service and sacrifice, the United States Marine Corps proudly honors the legacy of the Montford Point Marines. From 1942 to 1949, nearly 20,000 African American men joined the Marine Corps despite harsh contradictions between fighting for democracy overseas and the denial of civil rights at home. After completing arduous and segregated basic training at Montford Point Camp, North Carolina, these Marines served with distinction during World War II's most challenging struggles in the Pacific. Some of them made the ultimate sacrifice. Others continued their service through Korea and Vietnam. And back home, continued to fight for civil rights. Montford Point veterans are legends in the rich history of the Marine Corps. Choosing to put their lives on the line in service to the nation, they advanced the cause of civil rights and contributed to President Truman's decision to desegregate the armed forces in 1948. 64 years later, the national appreciation to the Montford Point Marines, the 112th Congress of the United States awarded the Congressional Gold Medal as the highest expression of national appreciation to the Montford Point Marines for patriotism and distinguished achievement. Collectively, all Montford Point Marines helped to pave the way for many of the men and women of all ethnicities and backgrounds who serve in today's military. Semper Fidelis, and God bless the Montford Point Marines.
It's a fabulous event. We're just really happy that the rain gave us a break for a while. I'm surrounded by a number of artists, folk artists. We've got folk music. It's just a great event to bring the family down to. Benefits Creative Clay, who's been doing this for a number of years. So you'll be able to come out, come to the Edge District, see all the different patrons, see the different artists, hear some great music, and just really make a great contribution to creative play.
And we're at FolkFest St. Pete, our 7th annual FolkFest St. Petersburg. We're co-sponsoring with the City of St. Pete to bring you art that's accessible to everyone. This here is a free festival, and we have 17 hours of live music, over 60 artists, vendors from all over the Southeast, and lots of great food and craft beer.
downtown St. Pete. I do. I coming from Sarasota, I really like what you guys have done down here. I really do. I like all the shops and the independent owners and shops and restaurants and all that kind of stuff. I really like it.
Well, I have no art background. I started doing this when I was about 50, and I guess my message is that everybody's got creativity in them, and just start playing with something and it'll evolve. You're never too old.
This is our 15th annual event. It's the 15th year for BungalowFest. And it started about just for a way of advocating for a better neighborhood, to bring the neighbors together to work on an event, and to also just to encourage people to understand a little bit more about a neighborhood west of downtown. And so a group of like-minded individuals got together and said, we really need to celebrate what we have here. The cool thing about historic Kenwood is we're a pretty unique neighborhood nationwide. We're the third largest, one of the largest collections of bungalows in the United States, and that's in one neighborhood itself. As St. Petersburg grew over time, they moved a lot of the bungalows from other areas of the city into here. And so it just created a nice pocket and a way to celebrate art and architecture. And because it is an older neighborhood and people are realistic about trying to make things better, it also attracts a different type of crowd, and it definitely attracts artists. And so out of that came the concept or celebration of what BungalowFest is, and what it's really come to be over the past 15 years, which is a celebration not only of the neighborhood, but also of art and architecture. Welcome to my home. Let's take a quick tour. So right now what you're seeing is we're walking through into the enclosed porch into our main living space. The house is a little unusual for a 1926 house in the fact that the entire floor plan is very open, and that's pretty much original outside of one wall that was removed. So as you can see here, what we've done is we have really expanded the space. This is the one area that's a little different from the rest of the home. We try to keep in mind that in today's world, when you're entertaining, people hang out in the kitchen. And so our objective was to combine our kitchen and dining room into one single space, but really keep the charm of the home. And one final thing, people tend to buy a home because of the house. We actually bought the house because of the tree that's behind me. It's a beautiful Cuban laurel, and the first thing that we saw is this tree basically hugged the house. And we knew when we saw it that we'd found our home.
I've been here for 18 years and bought the one property, and then a few years later bought the next one, put the pool in, and it's a fantastic neighborhood here. It's great to be able to walk over to the Grand Central District, and historic Kenwood is just amazing. There's always something going on. And synchronized swimming, a little quirky, but amazing. Yeah.
Well, we started this in 2011, and that was really, as a newly elected mayor, we started working on it in 2010 because we wanted to showcase our local talent. I mean, these are student athletes coming from really great schools, and I wanted to showcase Lakewood and Gibbs as the inaugural those that played in the inaugural Mayor's Cup, and it was a great game. Lakewood won, and so we decided that they should defend their title, always defend their title. Last year was a cold night at Al Lang Stadium. That was fun. Lakewood beat St. Pete High in the second annual. So tonight we're at Lakewood's campus playing Northeast, my alma mater, and Northeast is having a hard season. So I'm predicting that we will retire the Mayor's Cup here at Lakewood. All right, do us proud in the playoffs now. You had a good game tonight. You beat my alma mater. I'm a Viking from 1981. But this is the third year in a row that we're going to retire this Mayor's Cup. It's never going to leave the Lakewood campus. It's all yours. Congratulations to the Lakewood Spartans, 3-time winners of the Mayor's Trophy.
Listen up, guys. But we thank you, Mr. Foster. Of course, we thank our administration, Principal Kari, all the coaches, the whole nine, cheerleaders, the whole staff, and guys, you guys earned it. Yep. Great job.
Felton Howard. I am Vice President and General Counsel of Urban Development Solutions, and on behalf of Urban Development Solutions, Oracle Foods Corporation, and the Woods family, I'd like to welcome all of you to the grand opening of the Sylvia's restaurant. This is a momentous day, and we'll move on now. We will have remarks by President Larry Newsom. He's president of the Oracle Foods Corporation.
Good evening. I'd like to thank all of you for coming. Well, we finally got it done. I think this is the second major project that we've actually gotten completed here, and I feel almost the same way today that I did when we did the grocery store. Boy, this was a long, hard, tough struggle, but that's just the nature of our projects. All of them are difficult, tough projects to get done, but we get them done. And that's what's important. I'd like to start out my remarks by thanking the mayor and the city staff for their efforts. They helped a lot with this project. I know we started off in some rough spots, but we got it together and we got on the same page, and we all worked very hard to get this project done. I'd also like to thank Stonehenge Capital and U.S. Bank. They're the ones that made this project possible. They're the ones that gave us the cash from the sale of New Markets tax credits to make the project work. I'd like to thank the Urban Development Solutions staff. They're the ones that were down in the trenches working hard every day, every night. They've been here with me making this project happen, so I'd really like to thank them. And I'd also like to give a hand to all of the board members of Urban Development Solutions. I think that we have a few out in the audience, and I'd like to recognize the board members of Urban Development Solutions too. I want to thank the Woods family, Ken, and I don't see Van yet. I know he's probably on the way somewhere. I think the mayor fell in love with Van about 2 or 3 years ago. We were sitting in his office talking about Sylvia, and he looked at Van with the dreads in his head, and he said, "This guy got to know how to cook." The truth of the matter is, Van is the one that knows the least about cooking. Ken is the cook in the family. But Van and I kept working on this transaction over the years, and we found a way to make it happen. So I'm very pleased to welcome the Woods family and Sylvia's to the city of St. Petersburg. I also want to thank the Oracle Foods investors that participated in this project with us. I think some of those guys are here today, and I just want to take a minute to say that we're proud of the work. The investors and I are proud of the work that we're doing in this community. From, when we first started here to today, we've created jobs. The projects that we worked on have created over 200 jobs in this community. And we're proud of that effort. We really are. Because we know and we understand that if we don't invest in our communities, we'll never make Midtown a part of the seamless city that we strive to make it. So we're very proud of the efforts that we put forward. I want to thank my family members. I see several of them sitting out in the audience. And finally, I want to thank Betty Newsom. I haven't had a day off in 3 weeks. I mean, I have worked day and night for the last 3 weeks. And it wasn't just at my desk. People will tell you I was up in the ceiling, down on the floor. I was doing all kinds of work. But I'll tell you, she hung in there too. I'm responsible for the development side of the house. I make sure that the building that we come to is ready and operating. But Betty's responsible for the operating side of the business. And believe me, it's a lot of work to take a restaurant from nothing and get it up to where we've hired over 50 employees and to train them all. And we're still working on the training process, so we want you guys to be patient with us. We're going to make Sylvia's a top flight restaurant, and it's going to take us a minute or two to get there, but we promise you that we are going to get there. We're very excited about the prospects for 22nd Street and hope that you all are too, because we have a real chance and a real opportunity for people in this city to look at 22nd Street in a whole new way, in a whole new light. We can do this. We can make this happen. We don't need a whole lot of other people to help us. We have the intellectual capacity, the experience, the knowledge to know how to do these things. What we need is your support and your prayers. And I'd really like to thank you all for coming out and celebrating this day with us. Thank you.
Look, to this community, from the Woods family, on behalf of the Woods family and the entire Sylvia's organization, we would really like to thank y'all for inviting us to this illustrious community. Unlike, it's really very similar to Harlem. Even though Harlem, the name Harlem is renowned in the black community, but Sylvia's restaurant was started back in 1962 by my mother and father, Sylvia and Herbert Woods, in an area that was, in some ways struggling for commerce, struggling to make a comeback, struggling to come back to its finer days when it was, when Harlem was bustering, like a new beginning. And I always remember that people used to come up and say, why don't you go to, Sylvia, why don't you move downtown? My mother said, no, because Harlem is my home. I am Harlem. And what I'm trying to say is the same thing here in St. Petersburg. You have to take ownership of your community. Don't run away from it. And it was another thing that I really I want to drive home. This restaurant, even though Sylvia's is world-renowned because we treat people like with Southern hospitality. I say that shouldn't be a problem because we're in the South here. So, and we serve people very, very good food. But it's hospitality and treating everyone like family because it's a family business. But this restaurant will not be successful if you, the community, do not take ownership in it. We can have successful businesses if we support ourselves. So take ownership, community. Take ownership, St. Pete's. My brother Van is the visionary of the family. He's a little late. I know when he comes, he's probably gonna have something to say because he's the one that really pushes us out there because running one Sylvia is quite a job. And running 2 or 3 is even harder. But I know in Betty and Larry Newsom's hand that we're going to get the job done. The rest of my family is here. Badia is my older sister. And Crisette, my daughter Trinez, my wife, everyone is here, came to see this. But if you look at my sister, you'll see my mother. Sylvia, we lost her about a year ago. So again, please pray for this business, take ownership in it. And like my mom always told guests, if you find something wrong, don't go out and tell everybody. Tell them, tell us. Let us know how we can make things better, okay? God bless you and thank you, and we look for a great relationship here.
This has been a long struggle, and we'd like to just take the opportunity on behalf of the shareholders to thank the UDS staff for their dedicated work in making this project a success. If you look at the building and you look around it, doesn't it look great? And wait till you get a chance to go inside. Now I heard Ken was talking and he said that the food is great. Don't believe it. It's better than great. I've been going home the last couple of nights and my wife was fixing dinner for me and she said, "You're not eating tonight?" I said, "No, I'm not really hungry. I'm kind of trying to watch my weight." I didn't tell her I had 2 pieces of red velvet cake, some macaroni and cheese, some collard greens, some fried chicken, tilapia shrimp, potato salad. I've been eating all week. So the soft openings has been a great thing for me. And the superintendent from Hennessy, Dan, and I, he has a diet, but we just throw all of that out the window. So the food is excellent, but the service and the kindness of the heart with what we want to try to present to this community. And we challenged a lot of people, and we were able to get it done. But without any good project, you got to have a good leader. And I want to tell you, unequivocally, that Larry Newsom You have to be real careful with them. Dan and I would come in, and we go in the restaurant, and we look during the construction area, and we see the band saws, and we see drills, and we're trying to figure out, why did the contractor leave all this mess on the floor? Why is all this sawdust and ceiling tiles missing and everything? We thought we had a big rat in the building. So we were looking around, and then Dan happened to get here about 5 minutes to 6, and there's Larry coming down out of the ceiling. I said, well, what is he doing? Larry ran all of the wiring for the POS system for everything downstairs. Larry ran all of the wire for the camera system downstairs. Larry even put up, made flowers for the flower pots and everything with the dirt. His poor truck is purple in the truck bed, which is a blue truck. So we want to thank Larry on behalf of the shareholders for all of his dedicated hard work. And they said, beside every good man is a good woman, right? Betty Newsom. Up and down. She just realized about maybe, what was it, Thursday, that she had 3 gallons of orange juice still in the trunk from 3 weeks ago for an orientation. That's the dedication and the work that they have. So if Sylvia is a success, which it will be, it would certainly be because of the hard and dedicated work of the Newsoms. And on behalf of us, we want to say thank you.
It's an honor to bring you greetings as chairman of the Board of County Commissioners. I know time is short. I just want to thank everyone who's been involved, Mayor Foster, the city council, city staff, Go Davis, everyone who's been involved in making this happen. I want to thank the Woods family. Thank you for allowing us to continue your legacy here in St. Petersburg and Pinellas County. And I definitely want to thank Larry Newsom and Betty for your dedication and believing in this community. Larry and I go way back to Florida Progress. I'm probably dating myself. But I know that you're a hardworking man. There are a lot of things you could have done, but you chose to dedicate your time and your service to investing in this community. And this is not just a restaurant, it's more than that. Sylvia's means a whole lot to this community. The Manhattan means a whole lot to this community. But if we are going to really raise the entire community, that means raising the entire community, right? And so what we're doing here, Larry, I see as a blueprint for addressing poverty throughout Pinellas County. Keep your head up. It's funny how we want to criticize folks for public-private partnerships here, when we don't criticize anywhere else in the county. But this needs to happen if we're going to correct the things that are happening and move us all forward. So thank you all. God bless you and Godspeed.
Good afternoon. I was speaking with Larry this afternoon. You know, the newspaper beat him up a little bit for having the courage to do this and doing it as a partnership. And I said, well, Larry, you know, I've sort of gotten used to getting beat up by the newspaper now and then. You know, that kind of comes with the territory. But I think what's important here today is that these people are pioneers. There is, you know, I started a business 27 years ago, and I can still remember my youngest daughter said to me, Daddy, are we rich yet? And I didn't have the courage to tell her, darling, I don't know how we're going to eat next week. But, you know, the folks who have invested here, they're both their time, their labor, and their money, you know, are to be respected for their courage and maybe a little bit of their craziness. And it takes a little bit of both of those. Because, you know, we were in the early stage here. You know, my hope is that in 5 years we'll look back and there'll be a whole pass full of folks who have come into business here and are doing well. But it's the folks who have the courage to step first that we most need to say thank you to. And so to the folks who are willing to do that, thank you very much.
As the Mayor Baker would have said, this is another great day in St. Pete. And it's also a beautiful day here in Midtown. As if you can look out and see what I see, this is a long time coming. I know initially when I started down this journey, we were just on the cusp of completing the third of a four-tiered want or an ask that this community wanted. They wanted the post office, they wanted the grocery store. We had just cut the ribbon on the bank, and the restaurant was evident but it got delayed about 3 years. So this is a blessing. This is a blessing to fulfill the dream and the commitment to the community of Midtown. You know, I often struggle with every campaign that goes through this city, and they always talk about seamless St. Pete and one St. Pete and how divided the city is, when we know where our attention should be. We know where we should be uplifting the people, trying to rebuild the community that was torn down, and try to invest in the community to provide the basic necessities that we have throughout this city. And it's a great day when the community can come to a restaurant like Sylvia's. And I want to thank the Woods family and enjoy a meal, sit-down meal where you live. I think that is big. My wife, yeah, you can clap. My wife and I often have to travel on the north side of town or out of from where we live just to go sit and have a meal. We don't mind, but it's just nice to be nice and have something nice in your community. So to all the people who thought it not robbery to come out here and invest in Midtown, I want to say thank you. And to all the people that was doing all the heavy lifting, Mr. Goliath Davis, I see you in the back. I don't see my tall buddy. I guess he couldn't make it, Mr. Baker, but I want to thank you guys for all you did. I was born and raised here in St. Pete, not 5 or 6 blocks from here, and I know what went on in this community, and it's beautiful to see it come back. It's to see it trying to come back. And I welcome anyone that want to get with us and try to work out any kind of deal or any kind of opportunity to bring jobs here, create economics, and create commerce for the people in this community. I think it's a great thing. Thank you.
My name is Renee Flowers. For those of you that may not know me, I'm the Pinellas County School Board member representing District 7, and this is the community that I grew up in. A little old African-American girl from Jordan Park right up the street, hanging out at Geach's Barbecue on Friday and Saturday nights, over at Snow Peak in the back of my father's car while he came over here to get a little something from the hot house. But I tell you, it has been a wonderful journey, serving on city council from 1999 to 2008 and walking through this building when it was only a shell and being able to touch the veneering and see it crumble in your hands. But also making sure that funds were set aside and that the community stayed focused and on track to know that it could get better because it deserved better.
When I was 4 years old and my parents moved to 22nd Street and 16th Avenue South, I had no idea that this would be resurrected. But Larry, thank you for your hard work. Thank you for showing us how to build the Walmart/Sweet Bay down on the corner and for making this dream come true. And welcome to District 70, Midtown of St. Pete.
Hello, St. Petersburg and the Tampa area. It's such a pleasure to be back here. I'm glad to have my wife standing with me, and I will just ask, and not no long speech at all, I would ask all my children to stand up and be recognized. And thank you, children, family. Family is everything. Larry, I tell you, seeing you there and thinking about you, and then seeing Darryl Russo, go way back, I want to thank you all for the connection that y'all gave me with y'all. You know, sometimes when people meet, and the right kind of people meet at the right time, in the right moment, in the right spirit, and that's how it's been with y'all. Congratulations for all that y'all have done here. Beautiful place, couldn't be a better name. Manhattan Casino and Sylvia's Restaurant, what a wonderful combination. Thank you all, thank you. And I hope you don't mind me making a little pitch. Not only, you know, come to service, help us with the restaurant and enjoy our restaurant, but also look out for Sylvia's food products in the neighborhood too, in the community. Thank you. Thank you all. God bless. Thank you all.
What an honor it is for me to be here today. I apologize for being late. It's not like I have a whole lot to do these days. I must have borrowed Councilman Newton's watch. But my sincere apologies, but thank you all for being here today, and to the Woods family, to Larry Newsom, truly a leader among men, and the ability to put this together, to not only renovate and newly renovate the Manhattan Casino, but to bring Sylvia's of Harlem to the city of St. Petersburg, their first outside of New York, and something that is very, very special to us. This is a destination restaurant that will bring people from all over the area to the Deuces, and what a great addition it is to this historic part of our city. So it's an honor for me to be here today. This is something we've been waiting for a long time, and to be right here to cut this ribbon is something I will remember forever. So God bless you all. Thank you for everyone that played a part, and thank you to my staff. I see Bruce Grimes, Rick Mussett is here somewhere, and from the real estate department to the city council, this is a project, we all pulled the rope the same direction to make sure that we got this done. And the permitting department, amazing. So we opened on time, let's cut a ribbon. Thank you.